So we've got rewards-based credit cards 2.0, and I already did a video about it back last year, I think it was, or maybe it was, I think it was 6 months ago or something. But I got my first credit card at 39 years old, so that means I'm older than that now. But why did I get my first credit card at 39? So I have two stories here. The first story is about my parents. They went bankrupt because they were using credit cards too much. And what happened is they had a credit card, they couldn't pay it off, and so they got another one, and then they couldn't pay that one off. So they were using these credit cards to pay off old debt and then getting new debt. And eventually they had 10 to 15 credit cards that needed to be paid off. And so they had debt collectors calling every day. The phone was ringing all the time. So because of that, I was always worried about credit cards, and I got good at saving money. So how did I get good at saving money? By just not spending it. Of course, I was a kid, so that was pretty easy. And I wasn't making that much money. My parents paid each of us 10 cents a week to do our chores. This was back in the 90s where that was maybe a little bit more money. But I did my chores, and my brother and sister didn't want to do their chores, so I offered to do theirs for them. And then I got 30 cents a week. Then I got birthday and Christmas money, and we had a family friend who I worked for one weekend, and he paid me $50 for that. He was from Jamaica, and so he had chicken patty for breakfast and barbecued chicken for dinner. So I also got a couple nice meals. I saved $120, which for a kid in the 90s would be a lot of money. But I was pressured by my parents to spend the money. And I bought 2 Lego sets, put them together, played with them for an hour or so. And after 2 hours, I decided that I missed the money more. So this taught me a valuable lesson about money, that you should make sure when you spend money on things that they're worthwhile, or that you'll enjoy them for much longer than a couple hours. Both of these cards come from Capital One, and I got the first one in February 2024. It was a credit building card, required a $200 deposit. After several months of paying it off, they refunded the $200 and upgraded it to 1.5% cashback card. Now my credit score was high enough, so I qualified for the next card that I actually wanted, the Venture One Capital One card. And I applied for that one in September, but I live in China, and so it took a while to get here. And I started using it in January 2025. Now that card, Venture One, requires a 700 credit score, and it has a $500 credit limit, at least in the beginning. And you get 1.5 miles per dollar, and when you convert that into cash, it's about 1%. So 1.5% back card, and then the 1%. So I tend to try to use the cashback card first, use the other one, the Venture One, when that card is maxed out or something like that, or it's above $200. Now my first plan was based on what I knew in the beginning, which is the monthly payment was due on the 4th, and that's the 5th Chinese time. The payments took 1 to 3 days, and also things stayed on pending for 2 to 5 days. So I decided I would give 2 days for the payments to go through and 5 days for them to come off pending. And I would stop using the card with 2 days left in the month and pay off by the 3rd of the month. And hopefully everything would be paid in full by the 5th of the month, Chinese time. I wouldn't start using the card again until the 6th, which would be the 5th Eastern Standard Time. And I would try to use the card for everything I could outside of those times. Now there were some problems. The Capital One credit cards don't charge international fees, so that's not a problem. And WeChat allows you to add a foreign credit card to pay for everything, and you can transfer money using their credit card as well. That's not a problem, but WeChat does charge a 3% foreign credit card fee when you pay for something that's more than 201 RMB. They say 200, but for 200 they don't charge it. Now the other problem was the credit score check. It happens in the middle of the month. And a couple of times I had money on the card during the middle of the month, And so since it was above 10%, I lost credit score points. So the second plan was based on the credit score check. I noticed it tended to happen on the 12th to the 17th. And so I would just shop from the 6th to the 7th and then stop until the 17th. And from the 8th to 16th, I would use the card as well, but try not to use more than 10% of the credit. So I just ran into one more problem. I was shopping from the 6th to the 7th, and I missed the credit score check by 1 day, and I had $289 on the card. Higher than 10%, but still lower than the previous month, so I still got a couple of credit score points. And I had 703 at that time, 703 credit score. Capital One, they have a credit score program called Credit Wise, where you can check your credit score. And they used to use something called Vantage Score, but they switched to something called FICO. And FICO has higher credit scores. So that increased my credit score even more, up to 731. And then I had one more final plan, the third plan, which was to continue the same end of month plan, to just skip the 6th to the 7th and only start buying after the 17th. And from the 5th to the 17th, I could use the card, but not over 10%. And I had success. When the next credit score check came, I gained 74 points, got over 800. Now I'm at 805, which is a record for me. And so now I'll come to the final part of the video, the final advice about using credit cards that are part of rewards programs. So the first thing is get your credit as high as you can, because then that 10% will be higher. Just get the credit cards that you really need. I got that credit building card first, so I could get 700, so I could get the travel rewards card. I haven't tried and I haven't thought of getting any others, so I just need those two. And keep the usage under 10% during the middle of the month, especially because that's when they do the credit score check. Somewhere between the 12th to the 18th is when it usually comes out and you can see it. Use the card as much as you can to get as many points or cash back as you can. And don't use the card at the beginning of the month until the payment due date has gone and passed. And also stop towards the end of the month so you can get all those pending payments to come off and pay them off in time. Of course, that brings us to another one. Pay the card off as much as possible. And then the last one isn't really about the credit score. Use PayPal for online payments as much as you can or whenever possible, because this helps you avoid compromising the card, because you don't want that to happen. And that's it. Hopefully you learned some things about using a rewards-based credit card and how to increase your credit score. And you can follow me for more travel videos. Also on LinkedIn, I'm doing accounting and financial posts. So you can follow me on LinkedIn or on TikTok. And have a nice day.